So I'm here speaking to Alice Slatter. Thanks for joining me today, Alice.
No worries.
So Alice, can you just give me a bit of a feel for what your time at Bendigo Senior was like? You know, what sort of subjects did you enjoy? What did you do at lunchtime? What was your senior experience like?
For me, I love Bendigo Senior. I loved like the freedom for when we were learning. So like it was up to you whether you wanted to do really well or not so well or like whatever. Like it was just completely up to you. The freedom to kind of just hang out with everyone in your frees or lunchtime, like, and being able to find those friends that were really suited. It was really cool, like all the schools in Bendigo coming together, and then you can really mingle with like-minded people, which is really cool. But yeah, what else was there?
Did you have a favourite subject?
I actually don't know. I feel like I would have done different subjects if I did it again. But I loved like business management with Prue. She was awesome. I also did accounting and things, but I loved the numbers side of things, but I wouldn't say it was like my absolute favourite subject. It was cool just being able to study what you wanted, and everyone in that class also wanted to be there. That was a really cool aspect of it. But yeah.
Definitely. So you graduated from Bendigo Senior in 2014, is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. So what have you been up to since you graduated?
So I still am not fully like in a career, but I came out of Bendigo Senior and I did 6 months of teaching, so just like a Bachelor of Education, and then I decided that I'd rather do Bachelor of Physical Education and Outdoor Ed. I'm not sure if they still do that as a course, but I transferred into that and I was going to have 6 months off. But then I needed surgery for like a sports injury, which was going to put me out for a year. So I wasn't sure what to do. I deferred for a year, and then in the midst of like the 6 months off, I found the course that I ended up doing, which was a Bachelor of International Development Studies. So
wow.
I don't know how to describe. So it's kind of like if you think of human rights, community development, anything in that sphere, it's pretty broad. It's kind of whatever you can do with it, whether you want to do like ethical and sustainable tourism or refugee rights or women's rights, like absolutely anything. Pretty much you can go into any sphere. So that's for 3 years. Then you kind of come out, and I would say like experience when you come out is where you kind of shape what you want to do. So now I'm just volunteering kind of part-time with an organisation who works in Fiji. They're health and education based, and yeah, just always going to conferences, looking for internships, all that kind of thing. With uni, it was cool. We got to spend a month my group went to Malaysia, so it was awesome. We kind of got to look at local and international led community development and looking at how it was sustainable or how it wasn't. And yeah, just doing homestays, that was really cool. I loved that experience. And then out of that, yeah, some more overseas trips, I guess, just like with the humanitarian affairs in Thailand. That was a really cool time. It was a week where everyone just from universities from around the world got together, and yeah, we just discussed global issues and the SDGs. But yeah, it's kind of all informal things. I kind of just throw myself out there wherever I want, but it's been a really cool journey. And from when I first finished school to now, I wouldn't have guessed what I would have been doing. But yeah, it's been a fun journey.
So what sort of what led you to want to go into that area of study? Like, have you always had a passion for, I suppose, wanting to help out in the world, or what kind of led you to going from studying education to this?
So I guess I went into education, and I was also considering social work at that stage as well. But yeah, loved like the relational side with people. I do like youth group leading and all that outside of uni, so I still get that. That's kind of why I went into teaching. But then I also, in like my earlier high school years, I always loved numbers. That makes me sound like such a nerd, but I loved, yeah, I don't know. I guess actually in high school, I just went to one of the public schools in Bendigo, and there was like I found a big disparity between the socioeconomic status of people. So it was really broad. So you kind of had, I've kind of found like I was in the middle, and then you had people who, or not too many, but very privileged. I definitely was still privileged in the global scale. And then people who, you know, weren't coming from a safe home and expected to experience school in the same way. And it just didn't happen. So like I felt like I went into teaching wanting to uplift all students equally and like try and make that experience a bit more equal, get behind kids if they're lagging or just need that extra help and advance the students who can. But then, yeah, my kind of economics mind went into this space because you can do like development economics was one of my electives that I loved. And social justice in the economy, really interesting. It's like with welfare, if you take some out of somewhere, what are you sacrificing and where does it go, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I guess now I've got this like perspective of you can empower people by like lessening the gap between poor and I would say greedy, because like there's poor and there's the rich. But to me, like people are rich at the cost of the poor. So for there to be poor in existence, the rich, there needs to be exploitation somewhere. But yeah, I've kind of like fell into all my passions into this sphere, and I still don't know what that'll look like one day, but for now it's interesting.
Definitely. And it's good to just find something that you're passionate about, and you know, it might not always mean that you're jumping into a career in that field straight away, but if you're passionate about what you're studying, then that will lead to a lot of cool opportunities. So I think it's awesome. Can you tell me just a little bit about some of your volunteer work in Fiji?
Yeah, sure. So we mostly we volunteer from Australia. That's where the base is. But then we also have like 12 local contacts in Fiji. And so they're pretty much like the groundwork. They make it all happen, which is really cool. So it's just a little team in Australia. And yeah, the main purpose of the organisation is to increase access to education, and healthcare is also in there as well. It's a little bit more difficult with healthcare because then you then have like transport and like public health, like awareness and everything. So we do our best in that area, but the main focus, I guess, is on education, because out of education comes so much in development of a community. So yeah, it's mostly like our main focus is child sponsorship. So it's just like a once-off payment for their book list items and the uniform, because that is pretty much what stops people from going to school there. So if you're from a family who's made vulnerable by poverty, in Fiji the public transport is free to school, which is awesome. But if you don't have what you need to go to school, kids won't go. Like they'll either get bullied or they won't be able to like thrive in that environment. So yeah, we find getting book list items and uniform, that just gives them such a big leg up. So I think we've got now maybe like 850 sponsor kids.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we also do like a bit of emergency care as well. So just wherever's needed, and that definitely crosses over with the health aspect. So even with Cyclone Harold, that's just wreaked some havoc about 2 weeks ago. We got a lot of supplies over there with the help of our Australian supporters, which was awesome. It was like 1.5 tons of rice or something. We like boated over to an island and we've helped rebuild some houses, and it's kind of whatever we need to do at that time, with wanting to do it as sustainable as possible, like long term, but also we meet those immediate needs if needed.
Yeah. I think that is just awesome, and I feel like in terms of what you're studying and where it could lead, it will lead you to help so many people, but also on so many adventures. And adventures where you're helping people, it must just be the coolest feeling ever to know that you're making a difference. So I think that's great. I wonder what's something that you miss about the Bendigo senior days?
For Bendigo Senior, I would say even just the social side of it, like being able to see your friends every day. And although I felt at the time like year 12 was so stressful, sorry to break bad news, but uni is very stressful. And I feel like, I don't know, with year 12, you're just always constantly around your friends. And with uni, although you still have kind of that environment, it's just not the same. Latch onto that while you can if you're still at school. Yeah, that would probably be the biggest side of things, I think.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that is a massive part, a massive change when you leave senior, and yeah, something that everyone should just not take for granted. So if you could speak to a current student now and give them a message or give them some advice, I'd love to know what you'd tell them. What would your advice to them be?
Oh, I would say enjoy your time at school, although you may think that's crazy, but definitely enjoy it. And like with your subjects, choose things that you love, because looking back, I probably would change some of the subjects that I did. Definitely would have done outdoor ed and all those fun things. Yeah, and I guess just that pressure that you put on yourself, like definitely do the best that you can, but that's all that you can do as well. So if you don't get that ATAR that you need, there's definitely other options. Like you probably will end up doing what you need to be doing one day anyway. Like for me, for example, I did 6 months of teaching, and as soon as you do 6 months of uni, your ATAR doesn't matter. They go off your transcript. So yeah, if you don't get the ATAR you need, or you don't know what course you're going to do, have a gap year. I don't know, just give yourself time. Be kind to yourself. Yeah.
That's awesome advice, Alice. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I really do appreciate it. And I really look forward to seeing all of your adventures unfold. So we'll keep up to date with what's happening. Thanks, Alice.
Thanks, Dee.